Leafs Nation, how sweep it is for the Toronto Maple Leafs this week. What's going on, guys? I'm your host, James from Offside, and let's kick it off. It is the Maple Leafs show that you want to watch. It's OHT this week. Let's get it rocking. What a sweep week for the Maple Leafs. And I use that all pun intended. If you watch the video on Monday, I called the Maple Leafs going 3-0-0, and boy, oh boy, did they not only deliver, but they did it in dramatic fashion. 3-2 against the Rangers, overtime here, overtime there, making Mitch Marner look like a hero against Swayman. And then, of course, today with William Nylander, need we say more, him dancing across the line. Absolutely excited about the week that was for the Maple Leafs. Great for them. And we'll talk about the standings here in a little bit. I got a rant that will come out of this here very shortly. But this week here for the Maple Leafs, I said needed to be a key week. With Florida not having to chuck, with the Rangers not having the season that they want, and of course, the Boston Bruins finally tumbling down the standings. It is a week that the Leafs needed to pick up these points, and so glad they did, because it really didn't create any separation, but it did keep them where they need to be, and that is in first place at the Atlantic, and that is exactly what I said to start this week off. Now, it looks good for the Leafs this week that just happened. They got the sweep. They got the wins. They got what they needed. They got some goal scoring. They got some depth goal scoring. Some people got their monkeys off their back. Hello, Max Domi, on your birthday. Happy birthday to Max, by the way. Picking up that goal, busting the slump, and getting it going. Hopefully that turns it up for him and the Maple Leafs going forward. Now, we look and say, okay, the Leafs this week, there's a couple games in there that got me a little worried, I won't lie. We're playing San Jose tomorrow night, and a lot of people say, James, it's San Jose. They're the worst team in the National Hockey League. That seems to be the Leafs' kryptonite. We all know it. It is a game the Maple Leafs usually lose. So for me, I'm worried about that game. If they come out with the right mindset tomorrow night, it could be a good one. Then you're in Sin City against Vegas. And we all know teams going into Vegas, some have some good luck, some don't. Some lose their coaches, like when we lost Mike Babcock on that Fleury save that night. It was in Vegas that happened. We also have Colorado on Saturday night, a team that is really trying to put themselves in all cylinders, be that perennial Stanley Cup kind of team that they want to be in the Maple Leafs. Well, they want to be in that conversation. So this week, this is a litmus test for the Maple Leafs. We throw the San Jose game kind of out the window. Like I said, I think that they will have a little bit of trouble there. They do struggle with teams that are lower in the standings, but this one seems to be one the Maple Leafs should be able to get a victory for and get rolling on that one. So we'll put that one aside. But then you got Vegas, a perennial team since they've came in this league of making the playoffs and going on runs and making moves. And this week, well, it is trade deadline week. So a lot of the guys that are fringe kind of players on the Maple Leafs or guys who have been discussed in packages. Hey, I'm looking at you, Robertson. I'm looking at you, Callie Yarncroke. I'm looking at Ryan Reeves maybe going on waivers. Guys may not be in the best frame of mind this week, worrying where their stock or where they be applying their trade come the end of the week. So you go into Vegas, obviously a place where you can do pretty much anything you want to do entertainment-wise. And the Maple Leafs need to be sound and ready to go. And most teams have a protocol and have their team ready to go for that game. But, hey, the Maple Leafs, they're rolling right now. They're buzzing right now. What do? Do you keep the mood light? Do you let the boys go out in the town and do some things if they pick up the victory? Is that the message in the room? Vegas is no easy task. I'm just saying that now. We all know it. So they're going to go into Vegas. I'm saying they are going to lose in overtime to the Vegas Golden Knights. It hurts me to say it. I want them to win every game. Of course we do. That's what we love as Maple Leaf fans, and especially fans like ourselves who do our little shows here and there and talk about the Maple Leafs. We want them to win every single game, but I do see that being an overtime loss, and then I see it being an absolute goal fest on Saturday night against the Colorado Avalanche. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair with the Leafs coming out on top 5-4, much like we need them to, because this week is very serious for the Leafs. Obviously, you have Tampa rolling. You have Florida rolling, so you want to be able to pick up these points. So this week, I'm calling the Maple Leafs going 2-0-1. The victory's coming against San Jose and Colorado. The loss in overtime coming to the Vegas Golden Knights. That is my week. That will be for the Maple Leafs this week. I nailed it last week, 3-0-0. Called the sweep, but this week calling 2-0-1. I do think they will falter, but I think they pick up another victory against San Jose and against the Colorado Avalanche with the OT loss yet again coming to those Vegas Golden Knights. So that brings me to the standings rant. So the Maple Leafs, they go on this tear. They're winning 5 in a row. They're looking great. They sweep the week like we're all excited about. Then you go and look at Tampa Bay doing Tampa Bay things. I thought they were going to calm down and just be a team that may make the playoffs or maybe a team that's in the wild card for making it. Well, not now. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they are here and they are rolling yet again. I think it's 8 in a row they are now up to. Obviously, the Maple Leafs trying to keep up on those Tampa Bay Lightning and as well those Florida Panthers who also are doing damage like the Leafs are. I believe 8-2 in their last 10, much like the Maple Leafs. It's absolutely insanity what these teams are doing. I would love to see both of the Florida teams cool off, and they'll have an opportunity to do that this week, as I do believe they are playing one another. So at least one of those teams will lose, and I'm hoping it is the Florida Panthers. For all intents and purposes, I want the Maple Leafs to finally be able to have a gap in the standings and start to pad the lead as the number one team in the Atlantic. That is my goal again for the Maple Leafs this week. Like I said, 2-0-1, picking up 5 of a possible 6 points. That will definitely go a long way, but it just drives me nuts that Tampa and Florida just cannot back off, just can't take their foot off the gas pedal just for a little bit while the Leafs are hot. They also need to be hot. It drives me insane. It happened last year as well. The Leafs trying to gain some momentum to try to catch the top seed. Couldn't do it because obviously the ones above them were scoring and winning. The ones below them were right nipping at their heels. Same thing again this season. The Leafs have an opportunity to take the Atlantic, but unfortunately, we all see what is happening with Tampa winning and Florida winning. I just want the Florida teams to stop. I want Lomberg. I want to be like him and just say exactly what he said. Go watch the clip. Absolutely hilarious what he did talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning. Misses being in Florida, but he, you know what's those guys. So I'm fired up for this week. I'm hoping the Leafs can get it done. It's definitely going to be a great week here for Toronto. So now we move forward. The roster this week. So there's a lot of guys that were supposed to be held out and not playing. And now we see exactly who might not be playing for the foreseeable future. And that is our guy, Calle Jarnkrok. Calle Jarnkrok not playing today, but he does look like he is cleared and ready to go to be a part of this Maple Leaf lineup, which I'm actually fired up about. A lot of people are not excited about the Swiss Jarnsy-Knife. Wish I could have got that out the first try. But this guy for me, and I've been on his coattails for a while. I love when he is in the lineup. He's a guy who can play up and down your lineup. He's a guy who can also play on your penalty kill. He gives you versatility at center, left wing, right wing. He just wants to play. So put him in wherever you need to, coach. He's ready to go. For me, that's absolutely great for the Leafs and not so great for their opponents. But a lot of people not exactly excited about having him in the lineup, and I don't know why. I look at it like this and I say, a guy like Calle Jarnkrok is the exact kind of guy you would go and trade for. You would go and ask for at the trade deadline for a third, fourth pick. You go get that guy that can play in your bottom six, but move up the lineup if need to. He has the speed. He has the tools. He can do the things that you want him to do out of a player you'd be trading for. Now, is he a Yanni Gourde, or is he a Scott Laughton, or is he a guy that you really get excited about adding to your lineup? Well, no, because he's a non-sexy name. He's not a Mikko Rantanen. He's not a Braden Shen, but he is a guy that can come in, give you valuable minutes, and play with pretty much anyone in your lineup, which to me is invaluable, especially with this team that needs a little help on the penalty kill. Always needs a little bit more burst of speed. And we know what Calle Jarnkrok could do when he's healthy. Had a down year last year, but the year before, not so shabby. This is a guy that I am excited about. I do want to see him in the Maple Leaf lineup, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do tomorrow. I'm saying he pots 2 goals against San Jose and gets the naysayers to do a little bit of this. But we shall see what happens with the Swiss Jarnsy-Knife. But for me, I'm looking forward to him getting it back in that lineup, making some people eat some crow, and actually being a beneficial part of this team. Now, Kristanov goes on the IR. A couple other guys banged up that may have not played today, but they ended up doing so, which was OEL, which was Max Domi. So we know those guys are banged up and dealing with some stuff. Joe Wool apparently banged up as well. Didn't play in New York, played today, but gave up the 5 spot. So I'm wondering what's going on health-wise for him.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
This is your before and after story. Prepare for an incredible career in nursing. At Southeastern College, experience expert hands-on training. Learn real-world skills in our professional lab and simulated settings. And train for opportunities as a practical nurse, registered nurse, or career advancement with our RN to BSN program. At Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sac.edu to get started.
You're going to be able to play this week, or is it going to be the Anthony Stolar show? Well, Wool kind of warms himself back up and gets feeling good. We'll get into more of hurt and tired here in just a minute, but our friends over at the Hockey Podcast Network, you know, they've partnered up with our pals over at DraftKings, and boy, oh boy, is it a great time to be a part of that. You give me 1 second and I'll tell you exactly what it is. It may not feel like spring, but it's right around the corner. No, you can tell golfers are hitting the links, and we have some tournaments to talk about. And if you want to do more than just talk, put your money where your mouth is and get in on green action with DraftKings Sportsbooks. From Thursday's opening round through the closing round Sunday, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with the tournament props, live betting, odds boost, and so much more. If you're looking to bet on golf, it's easier than you think. Just pick someone as simple like a golfer to win the tourney and make your pick. It's just that easy. So pick a guy, any guy, pull a name out of a hat for crying out loud, and pick him to win it and watch the odds and get the money in your pocket. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 and get $150 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app using the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for your problem gambling. Call 888-788-797777 or visit ccp.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill and Casinos in Kansas, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio. So get over, check out our friends over on DraftKings. Use the promo code THPN and bet on some golf, will ya? All right, so hurt or tired? So I'm saying this because there's one guy in the Maple Leaf roster who, come playoff time, believe it or not, should drive the bus for this team. And the past couple of years, there seems to be a couple ailments that have had this guy not doing what he needs to do when it comes time to prime time. There's the sickness, concussion, whatever it was last year, the risk the year before, trying to go for 70. But this season, Austin Matthews seems to be just maybe a fraction of a step off lately, and maybe he needs a few games of load management time off to get himself back up to snuff. And I see a lot of people going, oh, it's hockey. We don't load manage. Well, guess what? Towards the end of the season, teams do that. But right now, where Austin Matthews seems to be off just a beat here and there, why wouldn't you want to give him a little time to boost back up? Why wouldn't you want to give him a little bit of an opportunity to catch some Z's, get himself back in shape, whatever you need to do? Not saying he's out of shape, but you know what I mean. If he's off by that little bit, he's obviously fatigued. It's not injury related apparently anymore. So give Austin Matthews a couple games. Let him get those juices reflowing, rekindled. I know he probably doesn't want those games off, but for me, doesn't he look just a little off? And people will say, well, maybe it's his wrist again. I disagree. Maybe it's his back. I don't think so. He's skating, shooting. It just seems like everything is a split second off. And maybe you get him a chance to just get that rest and get ready to go. You'll have Austin Matthews ready for the stretch run and to go after the trade deadline. Just my thoughts on that. The other thing I got some thoughts on, it's Brad Treliving. I love Brad. Love the moves he makes in the offseason. Brad Treliving has said many times he is an off-season kind of guy. Likes to augment his roster there, and that's where he does the bulk of his work. He brought in OEL. He brought in Tanev. He brought in Stolar. So things he would want to do, or Leafs fans would want him to do at the trade deadline, those were the moves he made. And yes, having Tanev has helped the defense immensely. OEL, say what you want about him, but when he's playing and everybody's there, that defense is a lot better than it's been in recent years. Stolars and Wool, they speak for themselves. Look at the stats. The guys are winning. And Anthony Stolars, I think he's still rocking that .927, which is pretty close to tops in the NHL on the save percentage. So the moves that he made were good moves. The issue that I have with Brad Treliving, and there's a quote that went around lately where he's like, well, I don't see us having an easier path this year as long as the champs are in there. Well, when do you have a better opportunity, Brad? When is the next opportunity that you want to push your chips in? Everybody said you were handcuffed in Calgary, myself included, by ownership, and that's why you couldn't make deals. But now you're saying, hey, I don't want to make deals because the champs are in a division. You have Mitch Marner and John Tavares on an expiring contract, and you want to not push your chips in this year? What's better? You're going to wait till next year. Maybe you sign a Mikko Rantanen. Maybe you sign somebody big to come into your lineup. Maybe then you make the move. This season, to me, this team is the best defensively it's been in a long time. Is the bottom six scoring there? No. But that's something you can do, something you can fix by doing the trades that are rumored to be out there. Maybe you're saying that you don't want to do anything, or you don't think this is a year to help lower prices on a Braden Shen or a Luke Shen, or lower prices on a Scott Lawton. The prices do seem sky high. I'll give you that. But sometimes if you want to go all in and you want to make the moves and you want to get to where you need to be for that big, damn shiny mug at the end of the road, you have to push your chips in. One thing as a Leaf fan in the early 2000s, I was always excited for trade deadline. Why? Because the Leafs would be bringing in some names. And I know they were older and on the back end, but Leach and Nolan and Housley, you go down the list of guys they brought in, it just made you excited to go on that playoff run. And I think the Leafs, the players, they showed this week the big win, the gutsy win against Boston, coming back from 3-0 down, picking up the victory today against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know they're a down bird, but come on. You picked up that win. You staved off the New York Rangers. Anthony Stolars was lights out. Do you not want to reward these players with some moves to get things going. And I saw the comments out there, hey, championship teams don't have maybe but one or two players to get themselves over the hump. Well, good. Go find me that one or two players. Go find me a Colton Parayko. Go get me a Braden Shen, or go get me a Scott Lawton, someone just to solidify the bottom six or shore up that defense so it's so damn good that you won't need to score a whole bunch of goals in the playoffs to get yourself where you want to go. But for me, this team has played its absolute bag off all year long, and they deserve themselves a couple of additions to help this roster. And I'm not talking fringe ones. And yes, I understand there's a salary cap, but there are players that you can figure out how to move and how to get things done. It does work. It can happen. If you get creative and get thinking about it, you can make the moves the Leafs need to push themselves up and over the top. But Brad Treliving seems to be reserved to the fact that he wants to see what comes from within. I'm getting that feeling, and I don't like it at all. The defense, yes, it's a lot better than it's been. The goaltending is stellar. I loved Stolars and Wool. And the forward group, there's something you want more out of that bottom six, and you want to get more. And I know guys have been scoring more like Robertson and Holmberg, but those are not guys that you can say, hey, when the playoffs come around, we can count on them. Robertson had his shot last year, didn't happen. Holmberg, don't even get me started. Ryan Reeves, he probably won't play in the playoffs. And you got guys like Steven Lorentz, who's banged up right now, but he will be a factor, I think, in the playoffs. Calle Jarnkrok, to me, will be a guy that's good. But you do need to add. You need to show this group that you believe in the season they're having and make the damn moves, Brad. We all want you to. Everybody wants you to. I don't know if Shanahan's holding your hand and saying no, but somebody needs to tell him to make a couple of moves. If it costs us a Mitten, if it costs us a Cowan, it does not matter. You need to make a deal to bring this roster to that next level where we're ready to rock and roll and watch a deep playoff run like we used to do in the early 2000s. Listen, that's just my thought on Brad Treliving. I'm seeing the comments, and it's making me a bit nervous. I don't want to go into this trade deadline week and watch the Leafs not do anything. There are ways to get creative and add to your roster. You can send down a Connor Timmins. You can send down a Ryan Reeves. You can send down a Connor Dewar. And I'm already starting to accrue cap space just doing those things. So if you have to lose a player on waivers, so be it, if it allows you to make the moves you want. And good friend of the show, Terry Koshan, always used to say injuries usually have a way of helping this team and figuring itself out. And we think back to a couple trade deadlines ago where they got Fliggy, and it was because Frederick Anderson was injured. There may be something to that. Maybe Chris Tanev stays on the IR for a while. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But for me, I want Brad Treliving to hear this. Leafs Nation is counting on you to make some moves so we can go on a deep playoff run, and you also show the guys in that locker room that you believe in the season that they are having. Get the job done, Brad. Let's bring home a shiny mug. That's what we're playing for. All right, Leafs Nation. Here's the end of her. So we used to do, and we still love our friends over at Boxing Rock Brewing Co., the absolute big beer for the big podcast, which is Offside Hockey Talk. But this is the Offside Fan of the Week. Yes, it's been going around Twitter. I got my buddy Jeremy Ridgewell doing it, Shane Wilkinson as well. So I figured, hey, I got a podcast. I got a little platform. People listen, tune in. So I'll pick someone each and every week, whether it's from Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, that shows support and love to the show. This week, I want to shout out my guy, Terry Luttrell. Hopefully I didn't butcher your last name. But Terry, he's an absolute beauty. Posts all kinds of stuff about the Maple Leafs. Had Wendell Clark over to his spot to watch a Maple Leaf game with him. He has the video up on his profile. I'll make sure to tag him as the Maple Leaf Fan of the Week here for Offside. But Terry's great. He'll interact with you, talks hockey, very knowledgeable, knows what he's got going on. He's a great guy, will help you out with anything. Make sure you check out his page. Give him a follow. Shout him out. Have some fun, especially on game day. He's a very active guy. So, Terry, thank you very much for being a fan of the show. I appreciate you, my friend. That right there is the Offside Fan of the Week. And this right here is Offside Hockey Talk, where the Maple Leafs and hockey come to talk.